So the obvious one, which I think will cause a bit of debate between the two of us, is Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard, at the time, one of Europe's best creative wingers. Uh, you might disagree with a lot of things about Eden Hazard, but I don't think that's one thing that you could disagree with.
No, I wouldn't agree with it. At the time, I wouldn't agree, 100% agree with you at the time.
What about him don't you rate as highly as everyone else does?
Okay, do not get me wrong. And actually, while we're here, we're hoping to get a Chelsea fan on soon, potentially someone we know quite well. Not going to name him in case he doesn't end up coming on, but I know he's obviously a massive Hazard fan. I'd love to get his opinion, maybe even a standoff episode on him, because I think that would be more balanced. And as a fan podcast, that's important. So I will start by saying I've seen Eden Hazard score one of the best goals I've seen live by an opposition player against Liverpool for Chelsea. Brilliant. I think he's a really, really good player. I think people put him on too high a pedestal. I think people put him on greats of the game and put him on, Premier League all-time 11s and things like that. He isn't, and his numbers aren't there at all. And I think, although we did have a funny moment a few weeks ago when we were trying to look at how many Premier League goals he scored, and he definitely scored more than I gave him credit for. But
A
he did
lot.
only score 10 Champions League goals in his career. And I think for me, especially this season, 14-15, is arguably one of his best seasons. I think, he obviously scores the hat-trick as well in the Europa League final later on for Chelsea in his final game for them, which is obviously an iconic thing. He scored loads of great goals, really great player, really exciting. I know his game was more than goals and assists, but his numbers are nowhere near the levels of your Salah's and other players like that, Ronaldo, like Gareth Bale, Luis Suarez, like Thierry Henry. I could literally list a lot more, but I think he's a really good player. I just do not agree with some of the hype that he gets. And I think a lot of the hype that he gets is because he played for Chelsea and the London media and the London focus that existed in this country. Um, yeah, I don't think he is of the level. And, I'm not even judging, I'm judging him on the Chelsea period. I'm not on about him going to Real Madrid and not being fit and being a little bit overweight and barely ever playing and not really contributing to any of the Champions League titles that he's won, because that isn't relevant, because it's not his fault that he was injured, and it's not his fault that Real Madrid spent 100 million on him, and he was probably
Yeah.
finished by the time he ended up arriving there. But I think he was a really, really good player. But for example, if you said to me who was better, Sadio Mane or Eden Hazard, it's not a conversation. Sadio Mane is a much better player than him. But
Okay. Very
that's
good
sort of
player.
where
Very good
that's sort
player.
of where I'm at with it. But if you want to give a modern comparison, if you were like, who's better? Because obviously another player in the London media that gets a lot of limelight, Cole Palmer, Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard is a much better player than Cole Palmer.
Yes.
If you're talking about the hype,